Hello and welcome to episode two of On Your Marks, and I've got Siannah McGee and Jill Boltz today. Episode two features these two wonderful ladies, and it's about making the most out of your environment and situation. Far North Queensland may seem like the last place on earth that champion distance runners can develop. However, the last few years have seen an amazing number of runners make it to the national level, with some even making it to the international level. Today, we will find out a bit more about what is happening in this tropical paradise. So, I'm joined by Siannah McGee and Jill Boltz. Siannah McGee is a 17-year-old distance runner from far north Queensland, from Cairns specifically, and she's raced 800 metres through to 3,000 metres on the track, plus in many cross-country events, and she has PBs of 2:16 in 800 metres, 4:44 for 1,500 metres, 10:10 for 3,000 metres, which she did fairly recently in Zatopek 2025 in December. Her races in that Zatopek one, she also came seventh in the 2025 Under-18 Australian All Schools in Melbourne in 10:12. And fairly recently, she raced the 1,500 metres at the Alana Boyd Shield in Brisbane and ran very well there. She also raced in the Australian All Schools in 2022 and 2023 on the track, and in many Queensland championships over the last 4 years. I'm also joined by her coach, Jill Boltz, who was one of the world's top runners in the 1980s and 1990s and ran in the Olympic 10,000 metres, world cross country, plus many other international races. She is now a leading coach of an amazing Far North Queensland squad called Pace Project. Jill is married to Olympic marathoner Danny Boltz, who grew up in Sydney and ran for Switzerland. He has a Swiss father. So an amazing coaching team there, but particularly with the head coach, Jill Boltz. They've been doing an incredible job with young runners up in far north Queensland for quite a long time now. We're going to talk training and racing development, a little bit about the lifestyle in a tropical paradise, plus the challenges of living in a remote region, and even look at how the environment can turn into advantages as well. All right, so we might open up a few questions now. First of all, Siannah, can you remember when you first started running as a sport, and where did that running journey begin?
Yeah, so first remember running at my school, primary school cross country. I would have been about five, yeah, five. And I don't remember much of the day, but I do remember when we went to line up to race, there was so many kids around me and we were all bunched together at the start line. And I was pretty nervous, but I remember as soon as the teacher blew the whistle and we started running, I just felt free and I just felt like I loved running. So yeah, I definitely think that I enjoyed that day after I got to run.
Did you grow up in your early years in Cairns? Like, were you born and bred in Cairns?
Yeah, so I've lived in Cairns for my whole life.
Okay, so when you went to primary school and you did the primary cross countries at school, and then you would have done zone, no doubt, and regional, or moving up from one level to the next. All those local races when you were a youngster, were they on mainly grass courses which included mud, or were they more on trails, or what were the courses like?
Yeah, the courses were mostly grass. Definitely at the school level, it would usually be on an oval or around the school. And then as it progresses through regional and district level, they try and incorporate more mud and more trail like surfaces. So, yeah.
Okay, and how did you fare in the early days? So obviously you're only 5 or 6, you would have been only just starting school and kindergarten, or what do they call it in far north Queensland? Kindergarten in your entry level at school, or prep, or what do you
Yeah,
call it?
prep. Yeah, it was prep.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have had the chance to go on to another level till you're in about year 3 or 4, is that right?
I had to wait until I was 10, so I was
Yeah,
actually in year 5
year five. Yeah.
when I started progressing through the school level. So I ran the school cross country, and then you go to regionals, and then districts, and then state and nationals.
Okay, and you might like to, and Jill might help out too, but Siannah, you probably know because you would have done it all by the sound of it. How does it work in far north Queensland? So if you're at the school level, then you go to the zone. That would be like about a cluster of 8 or 10 schools. Is that right? That are fairly close to where you are.
Yeah.
And when you get to the regional, is that still just Cairns?
Well, it's from Whippers, far North Queensland, all the way down to Innisfail. So it's quite a big area. I think there's 7 districts
Yeah,
peninsula, so it's a huge area.
yeah, yeah. That area, by the sound of it, would be almost the size of some small countries.
Yes.
So, and you're still, and you're only at the first rung in the ladder as to where
Yeah.
you've got a race. Yeah. And then when you go after the regional, where does it extend to? You mentioned district after regional. So where does that go to?
So regional is the big area.
Oh, the big area. Yeah.
Enormous peninsula.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
6 or it's now 8, I believe, go to states.
Then they go to states.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you typically do state in Brisbane.
Yeah, usually Brisbane or one of the regional areas around Brisbane.
Fair enough. Very good.
Traveling.
Yeah. And now, in recent years, when we go to nationals, we see not only the Queensland team, but we see a far north Queensland team. So that far north Queensland team is what you referred to then, from that area, from Weipa down to Innisfail.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That actually takes in Townsville as well, that team.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're covering a huge amount of ground. A lot of the kids would be coming from far north of that region or far south and then coming into Cairns, and probably people coming from inland, no doubt, as well, a fair way inland. Yeah. So that's wonderful. Now, Siannah, when did you did the primary school cross country racing? Did you have anybody coach you before, Jill, from your school, or mum or dad, or anybody at all helping you out with your running?
Before I joined Jill's group, I joined Pace in year 5, I think it was. So when I was about 10, and I was coached by Fiona, which is the coach of the younger kids that come in when they first join.
Oh, great.
I was coached under Fiona for a couple years before I moved up to Jill's group.
And did you enjoy that training with Fiona?
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It was very inspiring running with other people, and just the community feel was really lovely, and it just made it fun and made me want to keep coming back.
Oh, sounds like fun. And when you trained with Fiona, was that anywhere near where Jill trained the older kids and runners?
Yeah, so we all meet at the same spot, but then Fiona takes the younger kids to do their session separately, and then Jill will take the older kids to do their session.
Oh, really good. And do you remember how much workload you were doing as a 10 to 12-year-old in the early years with Fiona?
We would still do sessions and some easy runs. The workload was a lot less, but it was still good for the level I was at to help me progress.
Oh, that's good. And
I'll just add something. She was at a very high level already at that age when she was young. Because what were you at nationals when you were 10, 11? You would win. She would perform very well at nationals at a young age.
Yeah.
The training she was given, so we knew there was a lot of progress and room to improve.
Excellent.
But we don't like pushing the kids when they're too young, because we want them to stay in this sport.
For sure.
So we want to keep it fun, want them to keep coming back.
Oh, wonderful. A great approach to coaching and a great approach to the sport overall, obviously. Do you remember what you did for like 400, 800, 1500 metres when you were in primary school, like around that 11 to 12 age bracket there, Siannah?
For the 1500, I remember It would have been when I was 11. I went to nationals and I was running close to 5 minutes, but I wasn't quite under 5 minutes. So it would have been around 5:10,
Yeah,
under that 5:10 mark.
outstanding.
I don't remember any other times.
So definitely a real whippet there flying around the local tracks and cross-country courses and whatnot. And did you do national cross as well?
Yeah, I did for the first couple of years, and then COVID hit, so there was a bit.
That got it in the way. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So did COVID hit around the time you would have gone from the junior squad to the older squad with Jill? Was that corresponding around that time?
Yeah, it was around about that time. I'm not exactly sure
Yeah.
how it impacted, but yeah, it would have been. I remember I was starting high school, and that's when it hit, so I had to do remote learning from home.
Okay. And Jill, you mentioned that Siannah was obviously a talented runner. What was her attitude like towards the sport? What was she like to coach?
Easy.
Easy to coach.
I think I was kind of jealous because she was with Fiona and Sienna's twin sister, Caitlin, both of them. Just a joy to be around and to be
Yeah.
they were like sponges. They took everything in and they wanted to do well, but it was lovely how they encouraged others around them. So even though they were getting medals at nationals, you wouldn't think it around the other
No.
kids. They were just one of the kids having fun, doing their best. And then the way Fiona spoke about, I want them in my group. You don't want to push them, so you've just got to wait. Yeah, and just build on their strengths, the weaknesses. Was it you, Sienna, or your sister? So they used to get really nervous in races, and sometimes they would throw up on the track. So we knew there was a lot of other things we had to work on. So obviously they were getting anxious before races, and it was coming out. But they would never, if they spewed on the track, they would just run over it. They were just getting their confidence, getting more races under their belt, so it wasn't alien to them.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, Siannah, what's your sister's name? Caitlin, yeah. So, you worked well together with her, did you, when you were training when you were young? Yeah, you.
Definitely. I think it was definitely an advantage having her to train with, because I would always have someone to push me and to make me want to be faster and be better. And even when we moved into Jill's group and we would do the easy runs from home, I would always have someone there to run with, so I could kind of take that into my stride and just switch off for the easy runs, not have to worry about the pace, because I know that I have someone there who's training with me and was at the same level as me and could help me improve.
It's really good to have a training buddy or two. If you're in a large squad, it's great to have somebody there around your level, but particularly somebody who you're close to and socially you can get on well with. And if you've got a sibling, all the merrier. I'd say you're probably very lucky in that regard, just having that support right there with you by your side, by the sounds of things, most of the time. So that would have been wonderful for you. Sorry, Jill.
They used to switch strengths. One could be really good at 800 and the other one would be more 15, but then it could be the other way, and it would be really confusing for me because it was so alike. So I said, all right, Sienna's better at the longer, Caitlin at the shorter, but then they could mess with it and switch around. So they obviously worked well together, like feeding off one another's strengths.
Did you ever get confused, Jill, when they were out there running around as to who was who?
Always. And I tagged them, the incorrect person, when we go put them on the socials. Well done, Caitlin, but I put a photo of Sienna.
Yeah, I think they're quite common, more common than what you think, identical twins. Yeah. I think I remember back as a youngster myself training in Sydney, I trained with the Thomas twins, Jason, going blank now, the Thomas twins anyway, and they were identical, and we often couldn't work out who was who. And then I coached the Harding Deleuze sisters in my Sydney days, yeah, and again, as a coach, often you'd get confused.
Yes.
And
I
they've
feel
stuck to
bad.
better over 800. It was better over 1500 over the years. Eventually, they evolved, and one became better over the shorter,
Mm.
and one became better over the longer. But they were definitely going back and forward for a while when they were younger as to what was their better event. And they had identical hairstyles, and often they wear the same gear, and
Oh.
it was
Well, at
hard.
least Caitlin and Sienna, they would say, "All right, I'm the one with the red top on." So
Yeah,
I'd write it on the top of them, like little notes.
there you go. Now I remember the Thomas twins. It was Matthew Thomas and Jason Thomas, and yeah, they were identical, very very similar to their techniques and the whole thing. Incredible. Now, Siannah, how much of your junior training was done with Jill compared to other places like at school or around home, or did you do all your training with Jill?
I did majority of training at pace, so I would
Yeah,
do all the sessions with Jill as a group, and then the easy runs and the conditioning I would do at home.
fantastic. So, how much conditioning did you do? Like, was that strength work or flexibility work or band work, or what kind of conditioning did you do?
Is this in Jill's group?
Yes.
Yeah, so Jill gives us a circuit that we can follow, which is really good. It's got all the exercises that we need to build strength, and it's kind of like a full body circuit, so it gets a little bit of everything. And so I do that twice a week now, and it's really good because it's helped me with preventing from injury and just building my stride and holding my form when I'm running. So I do squats, lunges, push-ups, dips, glute bridges, planks, and then some core at the end. And then after every run or session and conditioning session, I always roll and stretch and do some mobility as well.
Excellent. Wonderful. So you might do
Model
at
athlete.
the end. You normally do the rolling after the workout, not before.
Yeah, I roll and stretch after I try come home and do it straight away because otherwise it doesn't get done, and it's just part of my routine now.
Excellent. Yeah. There's different ways to skin a cat, aren't there? I think more people that I speak to tend to do it like you, but some groups are doing the rolling beforehand as part of their warm up or even their pre warm up. And some really dedicated athletes will do both. They'll do it as part of their warm up and then they'll do it later on as well. But it's definitely becoming a big feature of many runners' routines now, the rolling and even band work and activation work as well. Yeah, big time. Do you do any weights at all? Have you started lifting anything?
I do a little bit. I use weights for my lower body exercises, so calf raises, just to really build strength in my lower leg.
Yeah.
I've had a couple injuries over the years in my feet, so building my calf strength has been really important for me.
Okay, what injuries have you sustained in your feet?
There was a overuse injury in my foot near my Achilles.
Okay,
That was just due to, I think it wasn't my calf wasn't strong enough, so I went to the physio and then we've worked on calf strength to help build that up.
oh, wonderful, good. And when you say you do weighted calf exercises, which one or which ones do you do? Are they calf raises or?
Yeah, so I usually use a step and then I will use the weight and do calf raises on each leg.
Excellent. Oh, very good. Sounds like you're on track anyway to keep that body strong and hopefully prevent any further injuries. We know that injuries are part of the sport and it's something that all runners have to be prepared for ultimately, and you just have to be able to deal with them. But definitely, if you can make yourself a little bit more bulletproof by doing the strength work and the flexibility work, then you're less likely to have an injury-riddled career.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
Um,
sorry,
I'm putting in, sorry. And see, and she's learned over the years, like to try and stay one step ahead of her body. And if she notices a niggle, you'll often go and cross train.
yeah,
Rather than, oh, I'll see how it is. I'll just cut back in and she'll go on the elliptical. which has kept you very strong, I think, over the years. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. So do you have your own elliptical?
Yeah, but I do usually use the one at the gym because it's slightly better.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Not
Go
as
for the better machine. Yeah, and gyms can be a little bit more social too, can't they? They provide that motivation there. If you know there's other people working hard, you can hear them breathing, you can see them sweating, have a chat in between efforts and all that sort of thing. They can be a great social thing. That's great. Jill, I have seen footage and photos of your group doing some group strength work and activation there, I think, on a field too, which is a great thing. I remember doing that with my junior group back in the day. It's a nice social thing for them. And I guess, do you do that as much as an education thing as well, so they can take it back and do it in their own environment as well?
Yeah, so what we tend to do after the break at the start of the season, we'll go
Yeah.
through all the conditioning, which would like them to continue throughout the year.
Yeah.
Some of them, like Siannah, will continue, and you can tell who does and who doesn't do it.
Sure.
More and more of the kids are doing it from home, because they're sending through little videos. Look at me, I've done this, which is good. And I think they're noticing, like you mentioned before, that running injuries are all part of it. First, when they get their first injury, they think it's the end of the world, and it is to them. But you know that you're going to get injured again. But if you can do little things like this to keep you stronger, the risk is going to be lower. So there is an importance. It's not just a full time. Just getting that word out, and then them seeing like Siannah and other kids prior to Siannah move on to other areas that there is running after school. It keeps them motivated to do things like this.
Big time. And it's so wonderful, Siannah, that you've been working on the cross training with the elliptical as well. And there's other ways we can cross train, like water running, swimming, cycling, and all that. But we're seeing so much more now that the stars of the sport are cross training a lot. Even just in most recent times, there, Jack Rayner broke the national half marathon record. And we heard about the injuries that he's had in the lead up, and he did a lot of gravel mountain biking and other cross training on top of that. And then only a year before that, Parker Valby, who'd been dominating NCAA and became an Olympic 10,000 metre runner, top 10 in the Olympic 10K. She was only running 3 or 4 days a week, and then right throughout her collegiate career and leading up to that Olympics, and doing a lot on an elliptical or an arc trainer, which is like an elliptical. So we're hearing about a lot of the stars cross-training a lot, and it'll probably happen even more as people learn just how important it can be and how beneficial it can be for runners. Now, Siannah, explain your current training with Jill's group. You're now 17, is that right? Yeah, and so about how many kilometres a week are you running right now as a 17-year-old?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm still trying to progress my mileage for the start of the cross-country season. Currently, I'm running about 50 kilometers a week. So that includes the sessions and all my runs. And then I also do a little bit of cross-training and strength work on top of that.
Okay, very good. What days do you run each week? Do you have particular days that you do speed and particular days you run recovery and long, or do you mix it around depending on how you're feeling?
Yeah, we usually do Mondays and Wednesdays are our easy runs, and that's when I do conditioning as well. And then Tuesday, Thursdays, we have sessions. And then Saturday morning, we have a session, and Sunday, we have a long run. So Friday is our off day where we don't run.
Very good. So you have a very full week there. What's your favourite part of the training during that typical week? What do you look forward to most of all? Is there anything that stands out?
Friday.
No, I think for me, the sessions are definitely the funnest part of training, because I like to go out and try push myself and try and get better and just test myself in the reps.
Is there a standout session that you really love more than the other speed workout?
I like the session we did the other week, the 400s.
Because of the people you were with as well.
Yeah.
So was it 4 sets of 4?
Yeah.
And each set had to get a bit faster, but there was a good group of not just boys, there were some good girls there as well. So it was a very motivating, and it was great to see them progress, stick to the set times and get faster. And
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it was, and it was on a grass track, which isn't a very nice grass track, but it didn't bother them. They just got on with it and executed the session. It was good to see.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you had 400s, and then you had a break after the first set, then another 4, a break, another 400s, a break, and then the final 4. What did you do the first set in? Do you remember, Siannah?
No, I don't remember.
No, I don't remember the times. Yeah, but you did progress down and get quicker as you went along.
I think we were doing 3K and 1500 meter race pace stuff. So
yeah,
around those paces.
So probably around the 80 mark or a little bit quicker.
I think it might have went 80 to 80, 78,
yeah,
76, but they were ahead of the goals. Yeah, which was
wow.
Oh, they're going to finish this off, but they did.
That's good.
Yes.
Now you train on the grass track. I've always been a believer in doing a lot of work on, not all training on grass, but a lot on grass. How do you find it? Like, you get the wet seasons up there and you get dry seasons in the far north Queensland. Do you find the track can go from being like dry and therefore fast to really wet and therefore really slow? Do you have like different days, and when you like standardise the track and go, oh, it's a slow track today due to how much rain you've had? Is it like that, Jill?
Definitely, and the track's not even marked this time of year, so we try and see the track under the long grass. It's the conditions aren't ideal, but we make do with what we've got.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to be able to use the local schools track. But like I say, it's not marked, so it's already end of February, coming into March. So Sienna's got Big 3000 tonight. Or one day a week she'll go into Barlow Park, which is good. You can't use the inside lane. Everybody's there. You having to dodge people because it's the only track marked at this time of year.
Yeah.
Used to it, so we get on with it and make do with what we've got. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
As you know, Jill and Siannah, distance running is a tough sport, and when you're out there, you're on your own really in a race, and it's you're going through pain, and you face challenges in different races. So if you are training in adverse conditions or in tough weather or just a more challenging environment, hopefully it'll harden you to become a better runner in the end. And yeah, I think just as a coach and someone been around the sport a long time, the more I hear about and more people I speak to who do train in tougher conditions, the more I realise that maybe they're not actually at a disadvantage, but they're possibly or probably more at an advantage compared to people who train in ideal conditions. And we're seeing people who are training in air-conditioned indoor tracks. Fair enough, because like often outdoors might be minus 30 degrees and snowy and icy and slippery where you can fall down and break a leg in the ice or whatever. But so many people in the world do live in temperate climates where the weather's not that bad, and they might whinge about it being 22 degrees, which might be 1 degree hotter than what they find to be perfect, or they might whinge about it being 14 degrees, which might be 2 degrees colder than what they deem to be perfect. But when you're out in a race, things aren't generally perfect, aren't they? Your heart's going through the roof, and you're trying to streamline your efforts over 5K or 10K or 1500 or whatever. Things are generally far from perfect, so you're probably conditioning yourself to toughen up. And apart from that, so you live in far north Queensland, and we all hear about the weather. I've only ever been there for a couple of holidays and a few other tropical places like that for holidays. I've never lived there full time like both of you. But obviously, one thing that you do deal with is hot temperatures year round. I mean, I've been there in your winter and it's been hot. And you probably don't find it hot. But when it's still 27 degrees and quite humid, I call that hot for running. I remember doing park runs in Cairns in July. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so tough, and that's the middle of your winter. And obviously the summer takes it to another level because you have the humidity and even higher temperatures and more rain. And then you've got potential cyclones to worry about and all that kind of, strong winds to worry about. One thing that has been proven by scientists recently is that training in heat and humidity can be very similar on the body, in other words, physiologically, very similar to training at altitude, because you're building more plasma, because your body's working that much harder in the more challenging conditions, that you're building more plasma there. So that can be a real advantage to you.
Poor man's altitude.
Yeah, the poor man's attitude, or maybe even the rich man's attitude. That's good. Now, obviously, you have the challenging conditions. Do you Jill, as a coach, do you have to moderate your expectations when they're, let's say it's 30, 32 degrees on a Tuesday afternoon at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun's still beaming down on the athletes and they're sweating, the humidity's at whatever it is, 90%. You couldn't get much worse for distance running, really, if you wanted to run quick. Like if you had a track meet there and there was 3,000 metres on, you wouldn't want to race in those conditions, but you have them training. Well, Jill, as a coach, do you have to moderate what your expectations are in the conditions?
Yeah, definitely. Like if we say 1,500 pace tonight, but then we'd say more effort, because your times aren't going to be the same.
No.
It's hot, it's humid, the grass is heavy, so it's more the effort. And then just looking at the kids, if they're red in the face, and you get to know which ones are genuine as well, So I think you've had enough tonight. Have you drank enough? Keep your water, all of that. It's a lot, but when they've been doing it for years, like Siannah, she gets to know her body. She knows she needs to take and keep hydrated and fueling. And if it's too much for her, it's very rare you'll speak up. But when you do, we know something. Oh, yeah, she's had enough tonight.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Now, one thing, for example, when you're going down to Brisbane to race, or even further afield there, Siannah, like for example, you've raced in other states, and have you raced internationally yet, overseas, anywhere?
No, I haven't been overseas yet.
No, but you have travelled a fair bit now around Australia, and generally places will be cooler than where you live. Do you find it quite energising to race in the cooler conditions after what you've been through in training and in your races up there?
Yeah, I definitely notice a difference when I go down to Brisbane, say, and do a race. It's even just going down to Brisbane, it's a little bit cooler and the air's a bit thinner, so racing is a little bit easier than what it would be training here. So I definitely notice a difference, and it helps.
As an athlete, if you run, for example, a 10:30 for a 3K, or let's say a 4:50 in Cairns in harsh conditions, let's say 30 degrees, do you think to yourself that would be worth X seconds quicker if I was in Melbourne on a cool evening? Do you think like that at all? Or?
No, I think every race is different, and
you
have to go into the race depending on the conditions for that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, apart from the weather, I've only been to far north Queensland 4 times, I think, in my life. I think I've been to Port Douglas on a holiday, Airlie Beach, the Whitsundays, which probably you mightn't even quite call that far north Queensland. And then Townsville a couple of times. I had to prepare for a training camp, and then I held a training camp up there. But on most of my trips, or 3 of the 5, so 5 trips, so 3 of the 5, I've seen crocodiles. Do you ever have to deal with crocodiles on your training, or anything else like cassowaries or taipans or anything like that? Because there are box jellyfish. There's a lot of deadly creatures up your way. You're laughing. Why?
Have you seen a crocodile on your run? There's one place we train, Katana Wetlands, and there's sometimes crocs in there.
Right.
There's only ever been one girl scared to go in there.
Really?
They close it if there are croc sightings. And there's another place we'll go up on the Tablelands, Black Mountain Road. There's cassowaries there, but they're few and far between. Like
That okay, that Table Mountain Road, is that where does that chairlift go in Cairns? What's the town up the top there?
around it, yeah.
Yeah, is that road up there?
It's yes, yes.
I've been on a run up on that road, and I've seen a cassowary. I literally saw a cassowary the only time I've ever been there. So I'm thinking,
Wow.
it's the only time I've ever run on that road on a holiday.
Uh-huh.
It was a port day, but I think I was there coming back from a park run or something. I thought I'll go up on that mountain and try, or the hill, and have a bit of a run. I checked out the map.
Yeah.
On 5 minutes into the run, this giant bird came out of the bush.
Was it real?
It was. And then I saw other cassowaries driving up by the Daintree on the main, road,
Yeah.
going through the Daintree on the actual road. There were quite a few that were walking along there, and the cars were all stopping and people were taking photos. I don't know whether you're meant to take photos, but I think I might have even taken a photo on my run of that bird. It might be back on
Oh.
Instagram or something. I can't remember. I definitely remember seeing it there anyway.
Yeah. I've seen them on Black Mountain Road, but not they weren't coming for us.
No, fair enough. I remember I've actually run with an emu, believe it or not, in the Warrumbungle mountain range in New South Wales. I ran 10k with an emu. Yeah, it ran with me. I was running and it jumped in and ran along the road next to me.
For 10k.
10k. I was on a 20k Wednesday semi-long run, and I was camping with friends, and I just went out and went for a run. The goal was to go about 10 or 11k out and then do a U-turn and come back along a dirt road. And it ran with me all the way up, but then it didn't turn around. I don't know whether it was too tired or and I was kind of waiting for the cassowary to join in, but it didn't look very clean.
I think when the cassowaries have babies, that's when you've got to be, you steer away from them.
Okay.
But then than that, they'll disappear out.
Okay, so you've got that wetlands area you train the group there, Julian, and you know it'll be too dangerous if they close the park.
Yes, well, it's very close to where Siannah lives, actually.
Oh, right.
So it's mainly when there's floods, and then the crocodiles will come upstream and they'll be in there.
Yeah.
Which is quite often.
Quite often. Okay. Yeah. Have you ever had a crocodile in your backyard, either of you?
No, but as I'm looking out Sienna's window, I can see kangaroos or wallabies.
Yeah, we do get wallabies.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There.
Fair enough. Yeah, actually, that must be a Queensland thing, the kangaroos and wallabies everywhere, because where my Tilly trains at the uni of Sunshine Coast track at Sippy Downs, kangaroos are everywhere. They're hopping on the infield. They even hop on the track. Sometimes runners have to yell out track because it's much in the way. And I remember Bendigo, the Bendigo track there. They had they had a 5,000 metre night, 5k frenzy, I think they called it. There are kangaroos hopping around all over the place there, but they were behind a fence, like just behind the track. A whole bunch of kangaroos. But yeah, the one down here on the Sunshine Coast, they're hopping around everywhere. But there you go.
You've got to be careful of the plovers at our track. They and they swoop. So if the kids are in a group, it's all right. But if somebody falls off the back of the park, then they're in trouble.
It makes you run faster.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, those birds, they can be more nasty than anything, can't they? Yeah, they really can. Well, there you go. Actually, another story that I had of a far north Queensland. I ran on the Conway track in. Have you heard of the Conway track? It's a trail just out of Airlie Beach. The Whitsundays area there, and it was about a 28k. And I did it just as an easy jog walk, just a point A to point B thing. And I was getting swamped by wild pigs in the bush. They were barreling down from the upper slope of, because the trail went sort of like around the edge of a couple of coastal mountains. So it was always a slope from left to right, one way or the other. And they'd always tend to barrel down onto the slope if they knew you were coming from up the slope. And they wouldn't actually attack you, but it's almost like they were trying to scare you. They'd charge in front of you or behind you. And wild pigs. So that's another thing up there. Yeah. There you go. So now, Jill, what are your key teachings for developing distance runners in your group?
I think, well, first, it's got to be fun. They've got
Yeah,
to enjoy it, so they'll come back each year.
yeah,
I like them to have a little bit of success, but not too much. So then, there's somewhere to go, especially as a kid, because you can only go so far when you're older, international races, yeah. But just wanting to strive to be better. So, and giving them the confidence that they can do that. They're all the same. They've all got the same tools. So if they work hard, believe in themselves, that they can do it. And each year just do a little bit more. So Siannah said she's on 50k. Like ideally, had she not been injured or what have you, probably would have been 60k. But we work around that. We find ways to work around it. You cross train, so probably doing the equivalent of 60 with a cross training. So just and develop at your own pace. It's so hard when you see these kids and they're running so fast out there, and you think, why am I not there? But your time will come. You stick with it. We've got a girl over at Iona, Taylor Gunton, and she's been like year after year injured, but she's just had I think she's had a year injury free, and she's just finally running the times we knew she was capable of. So she'll just start building off that. But letting them know, I think when people are injured, that's when they need the help, the reassurance.
yeah,
For them through the tough times. Because when you're running well, it's easy to go out and do your runs. But when you're hurt, and it's not just injuries, it's your mind as well, where you start to doubt yourself. So just bring it back to the basics. Remember why you started running, those sort of things.
yeah. Great advice there. Fantastic. So you were a star runner back in your day, and obviously you would have run quite a fair bit as a teenager as well. Have you learned, or what did you learn from any mistakes you may have made, or any of your experiences that you had when you were a youngster growing up in England?
That I just ran. I didn't do the little things. So the conditioning, the stretching, sleeping enough, eating correctly, those sort of things. They're part of training. They're part of the whole process. Sometimes they're bigger than the actual training, because if you're not recovered, you're not going to be able to come back do it again the next day. So learning from my mistakes, and I think when you talk to the kids, them knowing that I've gone through it helps more than somebody just giving them advice that they've read it somewhere.
Absolutely.
There's anything wrong with that, but you understand more what they're going through.
Yeah.
And how important it is, because I think sometimes it's only running, like some friends, what are you doing that for? But it's my life. It means so much to me, I guess. And having the balance, you still want them, it may be your life, but you can still go out and have fun with your friends.
Yeah. That's so important, isn't it? And people are way likely to do anything regardless of their age, whether they're a teenager or whether they're even an old person. They're far more likely to turn up if they have friends to share the journey with.
Yeah.
100% there. Yeah, that's really good. So, Jill, you've got a reputation, like a national reputation, and probably even, you've got friends and people who know you overseas, even an international reputation as a coach now, not just a runner from back in the day, for developing junior talent, particularly junior talent. And you've had several, and you mentioned one girl before, you've had several gain scholarships to American colleges, and they're succeeding over there too. They're not just getting the scholarships, but they've continued the good work that you put into them, and continued to shine over there in America on what is a really big stage. I mean, I know we've been watching in awe at the level the NCAA is now at, boys and girls, and just how fast they're running right across the board, and not only the winners, but right down, people who are coming 100th in national cross, and people who aren't even making national cross, just how good they are, and even looking at what they need to be able to do to even perform at the conference level, let alone the regional and the national level. So it's a really big stage there now. But you have developed some of the stars from the NCAA, including an NCAA trailblazer, Toby Gillen there, who's run 13, 14, 13, 15 or thereabouts for 5K.
He's racing
Toby, because there's so many good the college runners, but it's the same kind of people as Seth O'Donnell's run, or somebody like Graham Clark, or some of these strategy runners we know. He's in the same bracket on the national rankings now as what the guys like O'Donnell and Clark and Lee Tripp have done. The guys like that. He's done really well. And a huge success has been your bird, Ollie Boltz, who's down to about that 29 for 10K and it done very, very well, improved a lot since he's been over there. And there's all quite a few athletes in terms of events and their styles and their results, boys and girls. You've got, for example, Taylor, who you mentioned, I think 9:11 as she got down to for 3,000 metres.
Yeah, and she's run 16 flat as well. But those times, they're amazing, aren't they? But then they're hovering around the hundreds.
Yeah.
In the NCAA.
I mean, we can talk about the big numbers and how many others are running quicker, but you've got to look at those kids, those individuals as well, and then but they've really improved and they're running outstanding. And then if you look at our stage at the Australian level and even the Oceania region, they're still amongst the best senior runners now.
Yeah.
Like, not many women are running under 9:10 for 3K. She'd be in the top 20 in Australia. I haven't looked at the rankings. Maybe the top 15 in Australia. Have you checked the rankings where she'd be out of Australia? Taylor? But you know what I mean? She's moving down through the rankings now, And how old is Taylor now?
23. She'll be 23 this year.
Yeah.
Like we say, this is her first full year that she's been able to run injury-free. And the amount of time she knocked off, there's obviously more because it was chunks. She would have beat herself by like 300 meters in 5K. So it's exciting to see it come together.
I think she's going really well. Even like running 16 dead. Looking at young, I'm trying to think. Bronte Oates. You probably know Bronte Oates from Sydney. Coached by Run Crew by Ben and Gary. She did very well in the World Student Games last year. I think she made the final in the 5 and the 10 and came top 5 or 10 in both of those. I think she ran well cross country very well for the Australian senior team this year, and would have been top 50, I think, running very well. And she's got her 10K time down to around that low 33. She's starting to run, maybe even broken 33, running very well. I remember it was literally only 6 months ago or thereabouts when she was in that World Uni Championships on the track. She was around that high 15, 16 dead mark for 5K, and you've got, you've got young Taylor there at that level where Bronte is at, or was definitely at half a year ago. Then you've got other people from your group like Jake. You've had Jake and Cooper and Bridie, who I know this is about to start. Yeah. So you've been showing them out.
And the girl that 400s the other night, so that Cleo, who used to be at Ole Miss, that's who was running with Siannah. She's back in Cairns studying medicine, but she still comes to training once a week.
Wonderful. Studying medicine. Wow, that's good. Yeah. And Siannah, have you put your feelers out? Have you thought seriously about going over to America and following suit and following a few of your old training partners?
Yeah, I think it's definitely inspiring seeing so many pace runners go on to the NCAA.
Yeah.
That is something that I would want to do. So I am in the process of trying to get a scholarship to go over there and pursue running.
Good. That's fantastic. Oh, well, I guess the next half a year to a year could be telling for you. You have to get your name out there, don't you? And then I know I've don't check what you need to do, even in the current climate of what you need to do to get into an NCAA Div 1 school. And the times you posted are definitely getting good enough to get into at least half of those schools already on scholarship. I guess it's just how much quicker you go as to how good a school you could potentially get into, really, in the end. Is that the way you were looking at it?
Yeah, I think I would like to go halfway through this year.
Yeah.
Start as early as possible. But yeah, I think I'd know where I want to go by April just to be committed and then get ready to go over there if I was to go.
And start in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be very exciting for you. Is there any part of America you'd like to go, or are you more looking at it? It's got to be a good program with a good coach, or are you thinking I'd like to go somewhere warm or mountainous or cold, or have you thought much about it?
I think I would definitely like to click with the coach and
Yeah.
the team as well, because if I'm training with them pretty much every day of the week, I'd want to go somewhere where I feel comfortable and where I'd want to develop. So definitely the team and the coach.
Wonderful, excellent. Bill, as a long-time coach of juniors, you've coached and you've seen a lot of high school runners. What do you see as the biggest challenges for senior high school students? Those in the 17 to 20 demographic as well. So pretty well the biggest challenge for juniors.
Yeah, I think, well, when they get around that 13, 14 years old, the outside pressure, like from their friends at school. So if they haven't, so far we've been lucky at Pace, being able to keep the kids there because their friends are at Pace. But if that was to change, like now it's probably hard for Siannah to come because she's one of the oldest. So it's good on a Tuesday when Cleo's there, Izzy's there. So some of the older girls are coming back. But Sienna's doing a lot of her training by herself. But hopefully she'll get the times and connect with the school, the right school, and be away. So she'll be back with a group to train with full time. So that would be good. But if she wasn't to go there, I think that 17 to 20, it's very hard if you're not with a group to keep training.
Yeah.
You've got to work, you've got to go to uni. If you're going to uni, you've got to work to support yourself. Train at a high level is very hard because there's no financial help. There's up here there's no like clubs or whatever you want to call it. Whereas in America, you're with a squad, you're studying, but you're also training with like-minded people. But those like-minded people are less and less defined if you're not in that environment.
Fair enough, yeah. It's a good setup over in America for so many people now, and like you mentioned, Jill, the motivation as much as anything. And a lot of people, they're not at that level where they're good enough to join a pro team, obviously, but they're definitely good enough to join a collegiate team. And they're kind of like treated like pros, and in some cases they're treated better than what the runners in a pro team may be treated, in that they're getting all their food and their accommodation, their support network, which is more important than anything, the squad, you know what I mean? I remember hearing an interview of Jess Hull recently, and the interviewer asked her, what was it like, being a Wollongong girl, New South Wales coastal, South Coast girl, all of a sudden going over to the other side of the world, away from your mum and dad and away from your support network and your friends, and you're just out of high school, because she went there straight from World Juniors in 2014 straight to Oregon, Uni of Oregon. What was it like? And she said, it was pretty easy, because it was like I jumped in and there were 17 girls on my team, plus the boys as well, but definitely the 17 girls who you tend to do your training with. Straight away they became like instant friends and my instant network, and like a family, just straight away. Yeah, it should be great for you, Siannah, to be able to jump in with that if you get the opportunity. And
She's had quite a bit of interest, and it just depends now, I guess, on the times, on what sort of offer she'll get.
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Jill, how would you compare juniors growing up and training in Cairns compared to where you grew up and trained in the north of England? You've got different environments that you grew up in, and now you're an adult and you're coaching completely different environment. How would you compare the two there?
It's funny because other than the weather, it's very similar, which is weird. So I was from the north of England, so we always had to travel for competition. We didn't have the best tracks, so it's similar. The only thing over there was really cold here, so you had to adapt to that. Yeah. Whereas here it's really hot, you have to adapt to that. So it's kind of similar in a way. as you mentioned earlier, they're disadvantages, but really you make it your advantage. So you get stronger through those and through that environment. Yeah. I think the travel's probably the hardest for the kids here because they're used to the heat and humidity, but it's a cost. And they're not getting, like you could win your region cross country peninsula by 2 minutes and then you think you're really good. And you are really good, but then you go down there and you don't know how to race when somebody's on your shoulder. You know, it's panic stations for some of the kids. But if they were able to race at a higher level more often, something inside them would click because you can see what they're made of. A lot of the kids.
Yeah.
And I think just that, I should call it lucky and maybe not, but it's built inside her. She's very competitive. She's a very good racer and she commits. But some kids need races to be able to believe in themselves.
Yeah. Oh, very good. On the travelling to races, would there be a big cost difference between you flying from Cairns to Brisbane compared to, for example, Cairns to Melbourne? Really? So they charge about the same?
It depends time of year. Like recently, I went down to Brisbane. It was like $600 one way.
Gee.
But sometimes you can get $150. It just depends.
Gee, 600 would really make you think about racing. What, for one way? Yeah.
One way. Well, I was going. I probably left it too late.
Yeah.
But it was just like, oh my God, this is ridiculous, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But normally under 200 one way.
Yeah.
But still 400. Then you've got accommodation. Someone like Siannah, she'll need an adult with her.
Yeah.
So it adds up.
Double the price.
It makes going to those races so much more special because you
and you commit to it.
Whereas if you had them every week, it would be another race, or it could be.
Yeah, you definitely make the most of the trips and try and get the best out of every race.
Yeah. And headspace I think goes to another level because you're getting on a plane, you're traveling, you're going to a good competition. Yeah.
Now, the good thing is, I guess, that it's only probably half the journey to get to Brisbane compared to Sydney or Melbourne or Perth or something like that. And the other good thing is that Queensland tends to be a real hotbed for junior distance running at the moment, and probably particularly female junior distance running, where Australia had 5 of the 6 junior girls at World Cross Country being Queenslanders. And then a whole bunch of others who nearly made the team, you know, who did well on the trial or others who mightn't have gone to the trial. So many of them, including you, Siannah, out there who you're part of that big wave of good Queensland junior girls. That must be a good bonus for you, knowing that just about any time you go down to Brisbane or southeast Queensland, you know you're going to get into a good field of girls. Yeah, so that's probably a big advantage for you there. Siannah, how do you rate the local school and club races in far north Queensland when you do your local races? Are you kind of out in front now out of the girls, or is there anyone to push you along in the female races now over 8, 1500, 3000 and in cross country?
We don't have too many local club races. I think when I was in school, the school sporting process was really good because you could go to states and you could go to nationals and race those higher level competitions. The main local races that I do is usually in Townsville or Mackay at A&Q, so at the North Queensland Games.
Okay, good. So that would be the hottest event for you to compete in, the North Queensland Games?
Yeah, I think locally that's the biggest championship that they...
The local track races be by Cairns Athletics, and they don't like you run with the boys, do they?
I don't think so.
No, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Because they do I think they're trying to run some of the girls with the boys, but as of yet it hasn't happened. So we just don't have the numbers up here.
No.
They just drop off. So it's worth travelling.
As a coach, Jill, do you ever organise time trials or race simulations with your group?
Yeah, we do quite a few time trials. And they
Yeah.
get to run with the boys then.
Oh, that's good. You probably, it'd be like a good race anyway. You've got such a big
Yeah.
group, I imagine.
Yeah,
It'd be
no, they
very
can
much
do
like a
the
race.
time trials, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I've seen somewhere that you organise quite a few training camps. Is that
Well, we used to do 2 a year, but that got too much for the adults.
okay?
So we do 1 a year, and we've got one coming up beginning of April, which is round when nationals are on, or the leading into nationals.
Yeah.
Siannah won't be there. That sort of, it depends on who's still in Cairns, on which age groups go. So we've got a lot of boys, probably Sienna's age at the moment, but not many girls. So the group of boys will be there.
Yeah.
For Siannah, it's not ideal this year.
Okay.
The timing, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Siannah, what are your favourite things to do outside of running?
I love going to the beach. I live really close to the beach. It's not even a 5-minute drive, so I love getting out, and it's a good way just to relax outside away from training and running.
Wonderful. Excellent. Siannah, if you were a tour guide, where would you take visitors on their visit to North Queensland and the Cairns region?
Probably one of the beaches. Palm Cove's nice, or even Trinity's nice as well. But if they don't like swimming in the ocean, maybe Crystal Cascades is nice. It's a good creek to go to and spend the day.
Do you like going out to the reef?
Yeah, the reef is nice as well. The Fitzroy's nice. It's an island. You just go on the boat and you can do a day trip there. It's really nice.
Awesome. Great. Now, Siannah, what is the biggest mistake you made early on, do you think, on reflection?
I think worrying about other people at training and what they were doing, when I should have been just focusing on improving myself and developing my own running ability.
Awesome. Yeah, very wise there. Name one thing, Siannah, that you change about the junior running culture.
I think with the younger kids that are progressing or want to do running as they get older, there is a bit of pressure around them really committing to it and trying hard. I think there is a bit of tall poppy syndrome as well, where if you want to get better and you want to try really hard, that's kind of shamed on a little bit. So I think we should try be more encouraging of people to do their best and just be the best that you can be.
Great advice there. And, Siannah, what's your main motivator today?
I think after every race, I always want to get better, and I think that there's something that I can improve on. So just chasing that and chasing being the best that I can be is really motivating, and just pursuing running.
Good. Wonderful. Well, a bit of advice in closing now. A bit of advice to younger runners. You can see that Siannah performed brilliantly right throughout her career. She trains wisely and didn't push her long runs or sessions too hard, and realised that races are paramount. She's lived in a remote part of Australia, really remote part of the world, and been able to keep consistent and keep working hard over the years from a very young age, really, with a wonderful group there in Pace Project with really good coaches. And she's got Jill still by her side there right now. We wish you the very best in your endeavours there. We hope you can get on a good scholarship fairly soon there over in America there, Siannah. Wish you the very best of luck there with continued success with your coaching there, Jill.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to catch up with you and Danny sometime soon. Thanks for watching and listening, folks. Don't forget to keep your toes behind the line at the start and hard through the finishing line. And what you do in between those two is up to you. Okay, so thank you again to Jill and Siannah, and take care.